What's up, everybody? This is Ripples in Wales, back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and having a great day wherever you are in the world and whatever you're doing. Right, second video for today. While I'm on form this morning, while I've got a few minutes spare, we should do another little video. And something that keeps popping up in my mind is this presidential elections. I hadn't really given it enough thought previously to realise that the potentialities that will occur and the chaos that will likely ensue, unfortunately, America, given the state of affairs that's going on in that country right now, in your country, most of you, is likely to be quite dramatic. You are witnessing a paradigm shift, a power shift, a new order, and hopefully the old one literally on their last breaths, gasping and frailing for power. Trump will run again for office. Whether there'll be a shutdown of that institution in Washington DC in the meantime, none of us know. But things are about to get really spicy because the old guard and the puppet show that's been run from Washington DC right now, which is the old kind of strings that are remaining, maybe, or is it a theatre? Who knows? You've got some very interesting holograms or puppets in power, and I dare say there's going to be the last hurrah. And what do I mean by that? I mean, there's no doubt that Trump has now proved that there's massive voting fraud widespread in that country, and most countries, I imagine. The UK is not exception. The fraud in this country is endemic as well. But we've seen a change of guard and a change of order, haven't we? In the UK especially. I can't go too deep into that on this, otherwise I'll have the video removed. But you can understand what I'm saying when there's a change of order. If we kind of mentioned the royals and things like that, there's been, shiftings of power in that sense. And so that was, the family of 13 and the global powerhouses. They've obviously reneged some of their power, which we can go back to in this image, revealed to us by Ross van der Beer. Take a screen capture of this. This is very, very rare. That's them in the middle there, connected to the Vatican and this, the Illuminati, or the all-seeing eye of Horus, and Die Amon Dwa, which is the Latin inscription on all British passports and the monarchy in the UK, which means to God and my right. Anyway, we'll look at this a little bit later on, but the power structures change. And why am I focused on the elections? Well, the global reserve world currency status sits in the US dollar at the minute, and there is a massive push against the US dollar for trade. There is a war going on against the dollar while the United States is in a weak position, and it's being compromised from the inside out by China. That is obvious enough for you all now. Ooh, what's that showing on there? So it means that the presidential elections are probably the very crucial part in the puzzle that we see. We know that they're occurring in the November, the 60th presidential, is it? No, beg your pardon. It's the I think it's the 45th, isn't it? I beg your pardon, but it's in November, and it's in 2024. Anyhow, I don't trust Wikipedia; they're a crock of shit as well. Anyhow, why? Let's just jump a little bit ahead of ourselves for the minute, and we're going to go to this. We looked in the previous video here, a video which showed an emergency broadcast, which is the Ripple Riddler's final video. Let's just play it quickly, if it'll allow me. So we can see there's an emergency broadcast which goes on to, we've looked at this in the final video, but the point being, there's the anonymous character, V for Vendetta in the old movie. If you haven't seen it, go and have a look. Speaking out on November the 4th in London, England, looking at the Old Bailey, which is the Justice Court. This image here, this is the Old Bailey, which is the judicial powerhouse of London, and he says, this is to Madam Justice, who's taken a leave of her parts, and for the imposters who stand in her step. And what he's trying to say there is the judicial system in the UK seems to have gone on holiday, and there are some other buggers in charge of it right now. And so this is very clever, but it also echoes for over the water, your side of the water, for the Americans listening to this. This isn't just about the UK, this is about global finance. Okay, and there's no doubt that the actual scumbags, dare I say that, who have been running the show, the Khazarian mafia all across the planet, do I say that? Probably can, probably get pulled off not Twitter, YouTube for that. But you can understand, this is an enormous shift of power from the old to new, and the new is a more benevolent one, I'm hoping. We hope. And this is done in the UK to signify Guy Fawkes in the 1600s, I believe, who was tried to overthrow James I, the king at the time. So it's about revolution, and he was going to blow up the Houses of Parliament. But this, I think, is a peaceful revolution because we replace the money layer. And the buggers then can't use the fake money layer. Once things goes on the blockchain, once everything goes onto the blockchain, you're in a state of everything being watched and everything controlled. Ross van der Beer talked about this in his video. If you look at my cursor here, the final farewell. So the money standard controls everything. The money layer is everything. And we're moving on to that new layer. But he shows 4 images.
I know of no reason why the gunpowder
just let this play.
Should ever be forgot.
And it shows the XRP standard logo in green, okay? Interesting colours, green. So he shows a checkmate scene playing out here. Okay, and that's the thing, checkmate. When the checkmate occurs, then, sorry, banging the table, you then get the change. That's when the green for go is. The checkmate is the main point and the start, okay? And it shows you 4 images straight after this. I'll play them through. Now, there is a time sequence, a sequential order which all of those images sit in. They are here. 1, 2, 3, 4. They all have connotations to November. They all have connotations to the rise of digital assets and finance. And they all have strong connotations between 2023 and 2026. Or even 2024 and 2026. This image is the first one, and this is yet to play out. So you can't jump into any of these images. Just like the BG123 work, there is a very disciplined order to the way these things play out, and they are showing you a timeline of sorts. I don't use that word because unfortunately it's been disrupted by one unfortunate member in the community who thinks that he's God in terms of figuring these things out. He clearly isn't, because no one's even given him any reference. But we'll use the word chronology instead in that case. This is the first image to play out, and this is where all our attentions should be placed in terms of a chronology. So we know what I was looking at in the last video. I don't know if you all were made aware of this or you all saw it. Where is this one here? I told you that I was looking at difference or similarities between this calendar, which is a window frame used as a very clever calendar for you all, and this calendar here. Now, I've said to you before, they use window panes. And what I tried to do was, how can I connect the calendar to this window pane, and what are the similarities? And I found the main similarity was this bright sun and this bright light. Okay, and we've got sun over moon. Okay, we've talked about that before. That's a big one. And we've got, you know, the raven for death and rebirth at the top. And if we assume that these first 4 windows are January, February, March, April, okay, and April has been the dark month. We've seen that before in BG123 with the boat scene and the ship sailing out. We've got it here, the storm cloud. Look at April, 1, 2, 3, 4. Everything is done in quadrants. This was April, okay. This was released in April, this figurine, this cryptographic cartoon. Figurine? That's something your mum has on the mantelpiece. What am I on about? This cryptographic cartoon was released in April, okay, 2020. And so the That's interesting. So I sometimes figure things out as I'm talking to you guys. So we've got maybe May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Now, we don't know if this is going to play out in 2023 or 2024, 2025. We just don't know. We know we have the level playing field on the bottom, which has a reference to Jackson Hole, which we'll go over in a minute. But we know that there is an entrance in May. Okay, the lights are on. And this was also referenced in this ship scene. We'll go back here. This is kind of April, May, June. June is solstice. The bear is sitting at June. Okay, this is April, and I think this is what I can interpret. And the bear is at a real kind of high point, looking at that kind of the sun there. I often think that this is, this is connected to May here. This here, yeah, and this calendar is at maybe 2024. We don't know. This, that scene, that ship scene, doesn't go live until the Christmas scene finishes. So. We know that, and so we're just trying to join the dots here together. So if this is May, this light here in the OTC trading desk, this will be June, July, August, September, October, November. We talked about the smash in the window in November. Is that 2023 when the markets are going to have a breakdown? We've got December, January, February, March, April. Okay, so this again would be clear skies. April, May, the Ripple Riddler dons his hat. So that's something to think about, and we can't, all the eyes are at the minute on this one scene. But the interesting things that I've seen, and we talk about the level playing field. The level playing field is in reference, this is the Declaration of Independence. If you hear me talk about the level playing field, it's to do with this scene, or this image, this balloon ride image, which I'm sure you've all seen, specifically this part. I think about this a lot. This is some sort of deal being haggard out, a bribe from the SEC, some sort of. But this particular part here, the Riddler's at Jackson Hole. He's talking about balloon rides, and where have we seen this before? Sorry, let's just jump down here. This is the actual Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City, okay, Denver, Oklahoma City, and this is where the Federal Reserve meetings occur each year annually. So the one that's just been now, that occurred between August the 24th and 2026, and there was a lot that went on there. Okay, this is the Grand Teton National Park, and in the background we've seen this was referenced many moons ago to us when I showed you some tweets by, is it here? Yeah, here we go. This was Mark Carney here and Jerome Powell, and this is where the plan was hatched for a global hegemonic currency. We think that was reference to a unit of account that all currencies could be balanced in, and that was at Jackson Hole back in 2000. I think it was 20. Anyhow, we talked about that before, so we know that this is really important. And it's annually, so it might not be 2023, it might be 24. But the interesting thing, the take homes from this meeting were really interesting, and this is Christine Lagarde talking about it. And I want to bring you to the beginning and listen to the things she's saying. She's talking about global structural shifts in economy, and what she's not telling you, I'll let it play through. But they are really concerned. They are mega concerned. There's nothing normal now. She said everything is moving into a very, very strange territory. That's what she's saying within her words. Okay? And what they mean by that is they can't predict with AI models the inflation situations now. Their backs are against the wall. They're going to need new tools.
Sentence in this original speech, breaks in established regularities. Mm-hmm. Do you have an...
Think about that. She just said that he was referencing what she said. There are breaks in established regularities. Nothing is regular anymore. We're in uncharted waters. What did Jerome Powell say? He said we're navigating by the stars through cloudy skies. They haven't got a clue where this goes. They don't know. And their toolkits that they've got for central banks are in a very, very limited option. So they're going to need to go to a new system. This is before the breakdown, I feel personally.
Theory right now, whether it's again to September or it's out 6 months, a year, is there a set of economic theories you're working with, or is it ad hoc each and every day out of this pandemic?
One, it is deliberately, decisively data dependent, which forces us to react meeting by meeting. We cannot, given the fact that regularities are no longer regular, and we have more irregularities than regularities. We cannot exclusively rely on inflation outlook as determined by models. We have to bring into our reasoning and our considerations other elements, other measurements, including underlying inflation, as we see it empirically now, as we anticipate it coming up. We also...
Right, so between the lines, what she's saying is that we're going to have to go meeting by meeting with this because we don't know what's going on. We don't know how to predict the uncertainty, the level of uncertainty with inflation. And I can calibrate from her words that they are very, very nervous, and I'm sure you can as well. And they are really in a situation, well, they're telegraphing this to you all, that the economy is in a very precarious position. The reason that they're so concerned is because America has got so weak currently, the rest of the countries and the BRICS nations are now taking advantage of the situation. You know, Hussein and Gaddafi tried to before topple the petrodollar for the trade instrument by their own gold-backed dinars and home currencies, and that led to war because the established Khazarian mafia went and took them out. This was the mafia racket that was being run. Those guys have now been removed. Okay, so there is a free pass for the BRICS nations to do that, and in doing so, this destabilizes the western part of the world. Jim Willie's talked about this massively. I am very much interested in his work, and I had an email from him yesterday actually, which I need to reply to. I emailed Dr. Jim Willie, and I'll be emailing him again. I want to show him some of Ross Vandermeer's work, and we can go over it together. But anyway, so Christine Lagarde's talking, and this was in that meeting in Jackson Hole. She's telling you that there is massive structural issues at play, and this was also telegraphed in the it was in here, so that where is it? Yeah, so Jackson Hole addressing policy challenging milestones. Where is it? Symposium, structural shifts in the global economy. So the whole meeting was global, structural shifts in the global economy. Now, Wyoming is about ballooning. That's where the Ripple Riddler gets his ideas from. You can go ballooning in the Grand National System Park, and that's what the Declaration of Independence video is all about. It's balloon rides, but he's using it as a metaphor in that. The height of them is quite interesting. It's 13,000. Where are we? Did see it earlier on. Yeah, 13,000 feet. 4,000 meters in the Grand. Yeah, it's pretty interesting actually. So the 13,000 feet, which I thought was rather interesting. So it shows different heights in the balloon rides. And that's why my attention is very firmly placed on these Jackson Hole meetings, the level playing field, and the structural changes with the BRICS and co. These are both highlighted in both these, well, not so much the second video with the Ripple Riddler with the signing off, but in the first video, Declaration of Independence, it shows a strong connection to the Jackson Hole meetings, and she's telegraphing very important stuff in this video here for you. Now, yeah, something else I was looking at earlier on. So our attention should be always keeping an eye on what Lagarde is saying, and I think that's what was being telegraphed. Now, my other interest in the elections was this here, the White House at the end of the mantelpiece here, and I can't help but think that the calendar that we propped up earlier on, if we just drop that down, where are we? Hold on. It was here a minute ago. Where is the nice calendar gone? 1 second then. We're going to minimize him back up again. Actually, it's probably gone to the back, hasn't it? We're after that calendar. No, it's not there. No calendars. No calendars. Have I hidden it by accident? Have I? The calendars that we saw by Bearable Guy 123. What am I talking about? It's there, right? I've minimized it. Right, on this calendar, it shows in November 2024 a battle scene, swords crossing each other. Okay, which is X marks the spot. Okay, but they're using swords in I believe the details. Usually X marks the spot is a battle scene of swords. Two swords crossing themselves. The bottom of the sword's there, and they're crossing each other that way. And that's going to be the battleground. The battleground is the election, as the Khazarian mafia, the deep state, fight Trump. And this is where this leads me to think that we're looking at the next year's presidential elections as the big tick-off for everything. You know, we've got the White House here. It's very interesting, isn't it? You know, and we're in a bear market right now. There is no indications of any movements of great proportions in the markets for the time being. We are in a position where the next bull cycle goes from, you know, 2020, late 2024 upwards to 2026 for a year and a half or thereabouts. But the long progressive climb will begin shortly. With Bitcoin will probably take dominant, you know, front of house, top stage, and so yeah, it's this is something I've been looking at again. This White House, the November the 4th, 2024, and the connections between this battle scene that I see playing out with the calendar here in terms of the X's that are in November, and all the riddlers. You see November here. November, it's all about, you know, is the emergency broadcast system going to kick off? Are we going to see changes of that magnitude as they take down the old system? I believe they are, and I believe we will. And that'll do it for today. I hope that's given you some interesting thoughts. By the way, Two Teeth is pointing at 2022, which was the kind of the reset year, and then this is transitioning into 2023, 24. This one scene is the whole battle scene, and until this is completed, we don't really get to move on out of it into the other ones. But this is the kind of we're still in battle scene here, aren't we? This is kind of the almost the similar style as the Christmas scene, because you've got a face-off between SEC and old Khazarian mafia, deep state, facing the new guys who are the new bankers on the scene. That's my vibes on it anyway. It's just an interpretation. It's not concrete. Don't take anything as financial advice. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. It's just me having a bit of fun with you guys looking at some riddlers in green suits and some cartoon bears. Anyhow, I hope that's all cool for you. Hope that kind of gives some explanations as to what my thoughts are on some of these things. And we'll cover some more stuff in another video. Anyhow, hope that helps. See you all in the next video. Be blessed.